in the pond, where the sun don't ever shine. I wish you all night.
Chris is in the pines. Bing bong bing, ding-a-ling ding. Yeah.
Beep, beep. This is my voice on TV.
Max Power. Name you want to touch. Okey doke. You good to go? Hey everybody, welcome to Kooks, Cranks, and Iconoclasts. I'm your host Mike, joined by co-host
Spencer Lowry, we're about 90 pounds shorter, a little about 90 pounds lighter than we usually are today. Seawells has a touch of the COVID.
Yeah, he probably got it from when we were all in that fuck pile.
Yeah, COVID-idiot.
Yeah, so for today's episode, I've got a bit of an audio stand-in for Chris. He's much more agreeable, less of a contrarian, and he agrees with everything either of us say. And he sounds like this.
Yo, for real. Total respect. You're gonna hate it.
So yeah, today we were gonna all get together with a special guest, but we pushed that back to next week. So just to keep on schedule and try and get better about this stuff, we're putting out sort of a mini-sode today. Got to kind of clear house on just some random weird shit we've collected. And basically this whole episode is an extended What's Weird This Week. You want to go ahead and go first, man?
Yeah.
Break tradition.
Well, this is from thesmokinggun.com, which is normally my go-to for degenerate sex-related news stories. But this one, other tthan the word pussy, it has nothing to do with sex. Ohio woman, age 27, killed and ate cat. Yeah, she apparently this.
It's a double entendre, you see.
This woman, Alexis Farrell, 27 years fun.
That's funny. Her name's Farrell.
Yeah. She stomped a cat to death before eating it. Outside of a public housing complex in Canton, Ohio. They responded late Friday when many upset individuals who witnessed this woman killing and eating a fucking raw dead cat. Like a cat carpaccio, if you will. You know, cat tartare.
More than one way to skin them.
Serve it with, maybe some capers and egg yolk. Anywho.
You thought that one out quite a bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's how you serve carpaccio.
Oh, okay.
Capers, little lemon juice, little egg yolk and egg white, cooked hard, boiled, and...
Yo, for real.
Anywho, cops came. The woman had blood on her feet and hands and fur on her lips.
Jesus.
Yeah, and it wasn't the fun fur either.
Voice was a bit muffled.
Yeah, muffled.
Thanks, Gilbert Godfrey.
Yep. They don't know who owned the cat. They just know who ate it. Anyway, she's scheduled for an August 26th preliminary hearing. This is going to be one of those things. It's like, what do you do? I mean, what's the real legal crime for eating a cat, especially if it doesn't belong to anyone? But you know,
it borders on
food's hard to come by these days. You know, everybody's suffering from hunger, but I think there's a little bit more
prices.
To this.
Jeez.
Yeah, she also had a 2023 rap for child endangerment.
That's a surprise.
Yeah, and apparently she only suffered 3 years probation for a child endangerment charge. You know, so that.
Does it give the specifics of how she endangered this child?
No, it was probably heinous though.
Yeah. Fucking cat eaters.
Yeah.
Who knows what they're
what's
to.
the lead in to cat murder?
Yeah.
Like if that was what she got caught, then the thing she must have done to her kids probably wasn't very nice.
You gotta lead up to that, I would hope.
Yeah. So that's mine. Nothing real deep to think about. Just kind of gross, shock value.
Yeah, we'll get into the more. I got something kind of small to lead off with too, but we'll get into the more meat and potatoes, pork chops, and applesauce afterwards.
Delicious burgers.
So, yeah, I found a potential story about Republican succubus Marjorie Taylor Greene. For those who aren't familiar, she's a fucking awful, just a nightmare of a woman. And she's an elected official.
If you don't know, dig yourself out of whatever hole you've been living in.
Yeah.
She's the worst.
Yeah. I don't, I don't disparage anyone who doesn't keep up with politics or news. I totally understand. But that's how bad she is. She is a caricature of just awfulness.
Sucker of Trump's cock.
Yeah.
All the way.
Big
but even
time.
worse, I think she's even more dangerous than Trump because
she's fucking insane.
Yeah, she's insane, but she's also calculated and somewhat educated too, which makes her way more dangerous, I think.
Yeah. Well, apparently she may have very likely been a former contestant on American Idol. A lot of people are saying this is her. There is quite a likeness between the two, and she goes by the name of Stephanie Sugarman on the show. Now
that tracks somehow.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Like
that'd be an alias
who she'd make up. Yeah, I want to be Stephanie Sugarman. Yeah, I will say her dance moves not bad, but anything outside of that, she's just such a heinous human being that I don't know. I wasn't feeling it down below. I'll say that. So yeah, I'll include the video in the show notes for you to check out yourself. I think it's her. It's quite a stunning likeness.
It's awful close. I guess she's not claiming it. Right? She might put out a press statement.
You know what's really sad about that too is that if she had gotten that, if it was her, she probably wouldn't be as horrible a person as she is now. It's like how Hitler wanted to be a painter and fucking just...
Yeah, it's like if, there's lots of, sliding doors moments for a lot of people that do evil shit. Like, if Hitler wasn't picked on in art school.
Yeah.
Who knows? Sometimes a butterfly's wings can flap and create a monster.
Yo, for real.
So, yeah, there's that. Staying in the realm of politics for a bit... I wanted to cover two stories really quickly. Let's stick, since we're already talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene, let's stick to Trumpness. Now, I will say I'm glad to see the popular opinion swaying and the crowds shrinking at his shows, but more worrying about all that is that he's losing his mind and he's becoming very much...
He's getting shook.
Yeah, he's becoming like Joe Biden, like in all the ways he made fun of. And he claimed he was better looking than Kamala Harris, which...
Yeah, what does he call her? Kamala Harris or something like that?
Kamala.
It's so,
Kabbalah
what
Harris.
They've been saying about her is like, oh, she slept her way to the top. She had a relationship with one person, and this is just a sign of how desperate they are and how they have nothing on her. So they're saying, oh, she's a whore. There's all these dick sucking memes that show her service admit on the Facebook.
I mean,
it's if that's all they have is she's a woman and she's sexually promiscuous.
Yeah.
Which isn't even true.
No.
That just shows they got nothing.
Yeah, she's got actually a pretty badass record as a prosecutor, and so people
put a woman in charge.
Yeah, it's about time, I'd say. Especially one who's, I'd say, I don't know, I'd probably catch shit for this in any other forum.
Yeah, but Wellesley's not here right now. So.
Yo, for real.
No, I mean in general. I would bed that woman.
Oh yeah,
to put it simply.
You saw that picture I sent, right?
Yes.
I know it was an AI Photoshop deal, but
maybe we'll include that as well.
Yeah, I got time.
Put it in the show notes.
I got time for it.
No, but yeah, she's super qualified, and just we don't even have to get into, the 2025 or whatever it's called, Project 2025, and all the other scary bullshit. But I was looking at some articles about the red hat. And there's sort of all this let's say, archetypal symbology that goes along with it. And all this stuff goes back, way back, to what starts as the Phrygian Cap. So, like, the old-timey Mithras worshippers.
Yeah, that we covered in our Freemasonry.
Yeah. They
they're
would...
like the old school Masons. Yeah.
Actually, yeah, they're one of the first, like, mystery school sort of religions.
And some of the highest degrees you can get are through the Mithraeus. Right?
Yeah, I think so.
There's the ones you can go from 34 to 99.
Yeah, all the speculative masonry and things like that. So the Phrygian Cap was like how they sort of identified each other back in the olden times, like in Greco-Roman, Alexandrian, Egyptian times. And what's weird is that the Phrygian Cap and the Mithraic cult, I guess you call it today, or religion, these people like wore that cap not only to...
What are those fellas doing?
Swan. Oh, art. They're doing art. So they wore the cap to identify each other, but it also became a symbol of, like, the Mithraic cults or whatever were super into letting whoever wanted to join. There were no, like men, women, people of various ethnicity,
They're like the
nation.
symbol of Satan nowadays.
Yeah.
All newcomers welcome.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So the red cap was how they identified each other, and through time it kind of became like a symbol of, let's say, immigrants, basically. Like, it sort of like switched meaning. So it was a welcome sign, basically, that if you went into a large city somewhere and saw people wearing the Phrygian Cap, I think I'm saying that right. Yeah. Like, it's like, hey, you're good here. So obviously that doesn't jibe at all symbolically.
No, that's the exact opposite of the MAGA hat,
yeah.
But still, I mean, the red hat is symbolic, and I mean, it's a bold statement, you know.
Oh, yeah.
The color red, fucking.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like Black Widows and, you know, red is like it's a symbol of danger, you know, like it always is.
Yeah.
It has like an instinctual, fear-based response.
Yep.
You know?
That and
Danger.
that or like strong passion, which can also overlap between like sexual or violence. So red alert, you're in the red, all these obvious ways that just the color symbology is carried over. I'll include the link to the main article written by, let me double check this,
Julius LaRosa.
Sarah E. Bond, before MAGA, Mithras, Phrygian Caps, and the Politics of Headwear. So, like we said, obviously, the symbology of the Phrygian Cap and MAGA hats does not fucking align. However, there is another bit of folklore that I'm familiar with that much more aligns. There are these goblin creatures called red caps. The red cap is a type of malevolent, murderous goblin found in border folklore. He is said to inhabit ruined castles along the Anglo-Scottish border, especially those that were the scenes of tyranny or wicked deeds, and is known for soaking his cap in the blood of his victims.
It's like an Amanita Muscaria symbol.
Yeah, or stand-in, possibly, yeah. Like, there's, I can't remember if it might be the Greek magical papyrus or some other old document like that, but they used to refer to the Amanita, or not, the red and white caps.
Yeah, that's Amanita Muscaria.
That is, okay, yeah. They would refer to it.
Also known as a fly agaric.
That's, okay,
You know,
that's
I found some in Colorado once.
Out in the wild?
Yeah, out in the wild or
Oh,
the
shit.
campsite. And they're pretty distinct, like, you can't really guess it wrong.
Yeah.
And I got them and I took them back to the campsite, and I found out the reason they call them fly agaric. Because I cut into it, I was gonna let them dry in the sun, you know, so I started, like, I sliced it, you know, so it would dry quicker, and it was full of fly maggots.
Ugh.
You know, apparently,
damn.
flies are drawn to it to lay eggs into it. There's, like, because of the odor. Yeah, that's why they call them fly agaric, because the flies are drawn to them like fucking crazy.
So maybe most of those maggots are, like, born in the world tripping.
Huh.
That's odd.
Yeah.
And then
I didn't think about that, but
fucking corpse eaters. Yeah, it's the
just like the red caps.
Rodney Dangerfield. Yeah, it's the
Some cap in the blood of the victims.
the symbolic Mario Brothers fucking eat me grow big. Yeah. They would refer to them as red-haired, pimply teenagers or boys. Because all that, like, drug stuff had
like
to be...
your brother.
Yeah, kind of. He's a little older now, but yeah, close. All the drug stuff had to be coded in a lot of recipes and stuff like that back in the day, because fucking there was also a vast...
It's always been a crime to get high.
Oh, yeah, pretty much. Especially for, you know, mind-expanding and/or... Yeah. So it says that the red cap is depicted as a short, thick-set old elf with long, prominent teeth, skinny fingers armed with talons like eagles, large eyes of a fiery red color, grizzly hair streaming down his shoulders, iron boots, and a pike staff in his left hand.
Like your little brother.
A red cap on his head. When travelers take refuge in his lair, he flings huge stones at them, and if he kills them, he soaks his cap in their blood, giving it a crimson hue. He is unaffected by human strength, but can be driven away by words of scripture, or by brandishing of a crucifix, which causes him to utter a dismal yell and vanish in flames, leaving behind a large tooth. So...
That just really devaluated the whole thing.
Yeah, anything. Yeah. All that folklore post-Christianity, it's always like that. There's a whole thing.
It's like, that's what they told the pagans, you know, when they would tell them the story of the red cap. He's like, oh, well, the only thing that can cure it is the power of Christ.
It compels you. Yeah, there's actually a huge thing in ufology where people say, like, they feel like they're about to be abducted by aliens, or they're like, they feel like the sleep paralysis type thing coming on, and if they, you know, call on the power of Christ, it makes the aliens go away. So, like,
it's concentration.
Yeah,
it's concentrating on anything.
If you've ever
when
had
I get sleep paralysis, I just try to wiggle my pinkies.
Yeah,
and then I focus on moving my pinkies, and then I fucking
just
snap too.
Or get angry. That's what I would do. I just fucking like, no. Just
I scream a lot too.
Yeah.
Until I wake up.
There's actually, last I heard, some guy is like doing research into calling on, like, he's trying to interview all these people who supposedly had abduction type experiences to see if they've called on other religious figures or things like that, to see if, like,
maybe you gotta praise Allah, you know?
Yeah, maybe one.
That's why we're all screwed.
One Alakazam works better than the other.
Not doing it right.
Speaking of Allah, this is a bit somewhat related, but I've seen Iran in the news a lot lately.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't follow up on it, but you know, Israel and
rebels from Iran.
Yeah, Israel and Hamas were gonna finally fucking put their shit aside and try to talk. Last I heard, Hamas agreed to talk, but they hadn't agreed to anything else.
It's 25 square miles. Everybody can just cool the fuck off.
Yeah.
Everyone can live. There's room for everybody.
Yeah. A lot of desert. I was looking at it and I was like, okay, so there's a chance that they could talk and just both chill the fuck out. But then there's all this talk that Iran is like planning to fucking hit Israel. And this is tangential to UFO talk because allegedly Iran is one of the few countries, like, I would hesitate to call Iran a superpower, like, as we think of them today.
If you look at their nuclear arsenal.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense. They're one of the few countries out there that are, like, more developed to a degree that supposedly has access to recovered UFO, UAP technology. Because there was, like, an incident in the 1970s where their fighter pilots had run-ins with an unidentified flying ship of some kind, and it was downed, and they supposedly recovered the tech, and then, like, they immediately said that it was, like, they were spouting off saying that it was secret American technology, even though fucking I'm pretty sure that they were already using American technology because they bought all that shit before the Shah left. So yeah.
It could be new stuff.
Yeah. We don't even.
Some kind of crazy drone or something.
Could be like, you know,
crazy purple knockout gas.
I did want to real quick return back to the red caps, because I found some like strange kind of side story type stuff to this, like little tangents or whatever. We mentioned way back in our schizophrenia episode that Napoleon occasionally had contact with what he called the Little Red Man in a boat. No, kidding. He wasn't in a boat, although I'm sure Napoleon
that could
was...
just be an allusion to his conscience.
Well, yeah, like
devil on his shoulder.
It's sort of like that in that, we'll see. Supposedly, this red man was like a personification of what Napoleon called his Star of Destiny. I'm going to assume he's talking about Betelgeuse because that's the big red main star that everyone knows. So there is a weird potential Betelgeuse connection. But
yeah, he was educated on celestial matters at the time.
Yeah, like supposedly, the little red man would like show up at the palace or whatever. I want to say like the oh man, where is it? Like the main where like the royals lived basically in France before the terror and everyone got their fucking heads chopped off.
Champs-Élysées or
maybe. I almost want to say Versailles. That could be it
that
too.
was a palace, yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't just Napoleon apparently who saw this little red man, because Catherine de Medici, who was a big time kind of not quite a royal, but she was aristocracy, and she came from a very important Italian noble family. She was in the palace for a while, and she claims to have encountered this little red man as well. So I don't know. It's weird that there's like this strange, like red goblin man associated with the halls and horrors of political power.
Yo, for real.
Because supposedly Napoleon's downfall came from not listening to the little red man. This little red man would show up and give him various tips and tricks and fucking tell him about his destiny. And supposedly they talked to each other when Napoleon went to Egypt and went into the Great Pyramid and came out, and everyone was like, "Whoa, Napoleon looks fucking pissed. What's going on?"
You know, he wasn't really all that short.
That's what I heard.
He was 5'9".
Yeah.
Or 5'7", but yeah, he wasn't short by any means. Wasn't as short as one Christopher Wells.
Yo, for real.
All right. I can't pick on him too much. He's not here to defend himself. Who the red man really was has never been known, but that such a person obtained an interview with Napoleon seems to have been placed beyond a doubt. Even the French papers, when Bonaparte was deposed, referred to the fact and remarked that this mysterious visitant's prophetic threats had been accomplished. So this little red man was like, you better listen to me. I know what the fuck I'm talking about. And he's like, I've never steered you wrong before. But then the one time Napoleon doesn't listen to him, he ends up fucking clapped in irons and loses everything he got. And this little red man, this little like demon imp kind of creature, is also known deeply amongst local Detroit sort of folklore. So yeah, the Nain Rouge is a French term for red dwarf. And this is a legendary creature from Detroit, Michigan, whose appearance is said to presage misfortune for the white settlers of the area. You hear that, Whitey? There are no records that indicate the legend of the Nain Rouge existed prior to the 1880s. So the fact that Napoleon also, I believe Napoleon had some connections with the Detroit area, because Detroit is a French name. So
I always thought it was indigenous name. Yeah.
Cajun, Creole,
Something like that.
Polish. The Nain Rouge first appeared in Marie Caroline Watson Hamlin's 1883 book, Legends of Detroit, where she described it as a red dwarf, very red in the face, with a bright glistening eye, and with a grinning mouth displaying sharp pointed teeth. The Nain Rouge was included in Charles M. Skinner's 1896 book, Myths and Legends of Our Own Land, described as a shambling red-faced creature with a cold glittering eye and teeth protruding from a grinning mouth. Now, this creature is so strongly associated with Detroit folklore that they actually have like an annual parade where people dress up as this creature to sort of, let's say, there's
Drink in the street?
well, yeah, that's a big important part of it. There's a concept in like ancient sort of mysticism and magic called apotropaic magic. It's like the same principle as using gargoyles on your building to scare away evil spirits. It's like you use something scary to scare away something else scary. Each spring since 2010, a costume parade called the Marche du Nain Rouge has been held in Detroit, in which a person dressed like the Nain Rouge is chased out of the city. And then an effigy is burned in what the organizers describe as banishing the evil spirit from the city for another year.
They have that in Santa Fe too. It's called Zozobra, where they just burn a giant effigy and it's
Oprah?
like Zozobra.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ah!
It's fun.
Zozobra, huh? I have to check that out.
Yeah, it's like a 70-foot thing, and they load up with like fireworks and gasoline and shit, and it dances. It's like robotic and goes, "Rrrr," and then it blows up.
Whoa,
Yeah,
that's
it's
pretty
cool.
badass.
Yeah, I think it's cooler. I mean, I went there 2 summers ago, and there was like 70,000 people there. Like,
Goddamn.
it's fucking insane.
Yeah, the Nain Rouge is also tangentially related to the obscure, let's say, origins, for lack of a better term, of the Detroit, I hesitate to say tradition, but I mean, I guess that's the only word for it, of Devil's Night, which is the night before Halloween, when buildings are usually burned down. So there is some strange connection between the two. But yeah, all these little red men that, you know, sort of haunt big cities or not big cities, but let's say empires, we'll say, and people of political power. I don't know, I thought it was weird that you can go from the MAGA cap to the Phrygian cap and reroute that, because the Phrygian cap makes no real connection compared to how these belief systems work out. But that goblin, the red cap, oh yeah. And speaking of Washington, D.C., I also wanted to run by this story. The Demon Cat, also referred to as the DC, because you get it, because it's from... See?
Yo, for real.
Is a ghost cat who is purported to haunt the government buildings of Washington, D.C., which is the capital of the United States. Thanks, Wikipedia. We didn't know that. It primarily haunts the city's 2 main landmarks, the White House and the United States Capitol. Now, the weird thing about the Demon Cat is that Washington, D.C. has a long and storied history of being completely fucking rat and mouse infested. Most areas in the upper northeast United States have been since fucking the colonies started jumping off. But it says that the Demon Cat dates back to the mid-1800s, when cats were brought into the basement tunnels of the United States Capitol building to kill rats and mice. Legend states that the Demon Cat is one of these cats who never left, even after its death. So I assume that it just ate and killed and fucking grew and grew.
Still there.
If you listen closely, you might be able to hear him. It is home supposedly in the basement crypt of the Capitol building, which was originally intended as a burial chamber for President George Washington. Also a figment of your imagination. According to legend, the cat is seen before presidential elections and tragedies in Washington, D.C., allegedly being spotted by White House security guards on the night before the assassination of Kennedy and
Kinda
Lincoln.
like the Mothman, like almost as a harbinger or a foreboding.
A lot of these kind of like cryptid and like weird ghosty shit like this, the high strangeness, that's usually attached to. There's a weird sort of prophetic connection before crazy shit jumps off. Supposedly it was sighted before the start and finish of World War II, and apparently in the 1890s, the cat is said to have inexplicably vanished when some Capitol Hill guards fired their guns at it, and another supposedly died of a heart attack after seeing it. So that's something else that I find super interesting about all this kind of shit of like aliens, ghosts, cryptids, etc. Even if they aren't real, the trauma and the effects that they have on people are very real.
Yeah.
Like, that seems to be the only...
It's like Freddy Krueger, you just gotta say, no, you don't scare me.
Yeah, like, the only truly tangible, measurable quantity we have of all that weird shit is how it fucks people up. Like, that's the one thing that we can see and measure.
Yeah,
so,
the mass hysteria.
Yeah.
Yo, for real.
In relation to this also, there's also said to be... I know that they have it in the UK, and I'm sure that it was brought from the UK to the United States, but there are legends of a rat queen. So everyone knows what a rat king is, right?
Yeah, what would a rat queen be?
A rat queen is basically just a humanoid rat lady.
Okay,
Whereas
but a
like
rat king is just a ball, like
jumbled up fucking
where they're-
clusterfuck of rats. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, like
That's nightmarish, man.
yeah, dude, they're fucking gross. Dude, the old-timey tales of the Rat Queen, she was like sort of a unofficial patron saint, for lack of a better term, of all these dudes who were known as gong men and shit like that, who would like go into the sewers and collect shit and piss, or basically just go looking for jewelry or anything that might have been lost, money.
Reminds me of a girl I knew.
But yeah, there were actually people who, I believe they were called gong men, whose whole job it was back in the day was to collect shit and piss, preferably separated, in order to help make gunpowder, etc. Today's, I guess, let's say, like, those are the bread foundations for this episode. The large part of today's episode has to do with CERN. Now, for those who aren't familiar, CERN is the acronym is French. It's the European Organization for Nuclear Research. Now, yes, they do nuclear research, to the effect of, like, you know, how to harness and properly use or better use atomic energy, although that's not one of their main fortes, I guess. Usually when you hear nuclear in that sense, it's having to do with, you know, subatomic particles and things like this. This is more of their forte, I guess you could call it. And there's a woman who I think may be the origin of all the ridiculous bullshit conspiracy theories about CERN that have been coming out in the last few years. Namely, Dr. Astrid Stuckelberger, a Swiss scientist and researcher, has garnered significant attention in recent years due to her bold and controversial claims about CERN. And it's not just a hub of advanced scientific research, but is also involved in a secret nuclear program and hosts a portal beneath its facilities from which mysterious beings come and go. So, allegedly, CERN has been opening up interdimensional portals underneath, and you know, I do blame some of this.
That's why there's all the interdimensional beings walking
Yeah,
the earth.
they're everywhere.
Killing everybody now, yeah.
If these things are so powerful, then they've been around us the whole time. We're doing fine. That's the way I look at it.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I do blame CERN, some of the people who work at CERN, for this, because they did that weird, they made like a prank video on the premises where they had that statue of Shiva, and some guys thought that it would be hilarious to like put on robes and do like a fake ritual and then put the fucking video on the internet. So they're not helping themselves when they do shit like that.
No, that's in bad taste.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's fun to you know, pretend, but yeah, not helping yourselves, not doing any favors with that. So this woman, Dr. Astrid Stuckelberger, real person, real name. Apparently, she works for, or did work at some point for, the World Health Organization. So this also sounds like a large degree of, what's it called, the Dunning-Kruger effect, where I believe it's like if you're an expert in one field, you automatically assume that you know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, until you learn how little you learn, how little you know. Yeah.
The more you know, you don't know shit.
Yeah, that's basically, yeah.
But yeah, Dr. Astrid Stuckelberger asserts that CERN is engaged in a covert nuclear program and that there exists a portal beneath CERN via which beings enter and exit. Physicists employed at CERN have allegedly informed her, so she's got inside knowledge apparently, that there are at least 17 distinct realms of existence. Dr. Stuckelberger conducted an interview with a woman named Maria Z on Z Media 2 years ago. This interview was published on various websites where she covered various peculiar topics, including alarming experiments.
If it's so legit, why is it not on Fox News?
Yeah. Plus, you know, most scientists, when they discover some huge groundbreaking shit, you can't get them to shut the fuck up about it.
Yeah,
they're gonna be telling everybody.
Peer review process. Yeah.
Yeah. So like,
published in journals.
The whole like, and I'm trying real hard not to pick on a certain belief cross-section of people, because I know a lot of the people of a certain faith, and they're some of the coolest, nicest people I've ever known or grown up with, but a lot of this stuff comes from a Christian apocalyptic faith-based conspiracy theory shit, and that the big worry is that demons and portals to hell and shit are gonna get opened up. So scale it back, because even just saying that they're opening portals, what the fuck does that mean? What does that even mean?
To where?
Yeah, we can't open portals now, like, to anywhere. We can't even open a window. It's like that movie The Mist. They tried to open a window, but they opened a door instead.
Oh,
except it's not.
It's a good movie.
It's not happening. Yeah, it is. Twist ending won't get it away.
The ending sucks. I mean, it's good, but it sucks.
Sucks for them. Good for us. The Large Hadron Collider is designed to study the properties of subatomic particles and energies that, while immense, are not on the scale required for nuclear explosions or weaponry. Furthermore, CERN operates under strict international regulations and transparency, with its findings publicly published in open scientific journals and its facilities regularly inspected by international bodies. Despite this, Dr. Stuckelberger claims to reflect a broader concern that advanced scientific research can be repurposed for military or nefarious ends. I mean, she's not wrong on that.
As soon as we discover the real heart of dark matter, we'll make a fucking bomb out of it.
Oh, yeah. That's when we're all fucked, right there. So, and this is also, like, one of these continuing trends with a lot of conspiracy theory shit, is that people just don't really know shit about science. And I'm one of them. I mean, I'm not a physicist or anything. We need a new, like, if, what's his name?
NDT, Neil deGrasse
Yeah,
Tyson.
like, we need more guys like that, but who can also better relate to the average man.
And that's what NDT's great at. Yeah, he's
Can you
great
do
at-
that? I've never really watched any of his...
Oh, Star Talk, his podcast is fucking brilliant. You know?
Okay, yeah.
It's great because he does it with a comedian. He's like a sidekick.
Oh.
So he'll talk about this and then they'll riff about it in a funny way. But it's like he also makes it to where the layman can understand everything that he's talking about.
Yeah, see, we need more, like, translators, scientific translators like that.
Yeah.
That guy, Michio Kaku, is also pretty good. He's
still a little too heady for...
Yeah, he's also very much into a lot of the wooey-woo shit. But there is a huge cross-section where the wooey-woo shit and science overlaps, like all the quantums.
Yo, for real.
Quantums, man.
and their mechanics.
Yeah.
Intrinsic mechanics. Of
It's the dreams that stuff is made of. That's the best way I can put it.
Hey,
fucking consciousness studies, man. Fucking once we start, like, I don't know. I've always thought that,
like the double slit experiment.
Yeah.
Basically proves that every single particle or molecule has a consciousness.
Yeah, or is affected by consciousness, or observation by consciousness, or that like quantum entanglement, like that could basically explain in a very roundabout manner how, like, ritual magic could work, basically.
Pretty good.
You do one thing here, and as you mentioned the butterfly effect earlier, like there's just some
they've quantum entangled atoms already, like in lab settings. It only lasts for like a fraction of a second.
That's also how they believe they're gonna crack teleportation.
Yeah.
Because apparently China has been working on
Time
teleportation since the fucking Cold War, and once again, like, this is the cross section of science with wooey woo weird shit, because they've employed all kinds of, like, psychics and monks and shit who have basically, let's say, experienced psychic phenomena, for lack of a better term. I'm sure they have a much vaster, broader range of scientific terms that they explain it in, but it's been going on. And I'll include a video on some of the Chinese experiments in teleportation in our show notes as well. But yeah, not a lot of people really know much about CERN, so I just wanted to throw out a few kind of basics. What's up?
Yeah, well, after that, I'll talk about my recipe.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because that'll be a good segue.
So CERN has been around since right after World War II, pretty much. At least that's when people started kind of getting the idea together, because all leading up to World War II, during World War II, and of course after, there was what Europe kind of suffered called the brain drain, and all the like smartest people either ended up in a bad way or recruited by the Soviets or the Americans. So the leading minds of Europe who were left over after the war were like, shit, we got to get on this like atomic energy shit and start studying this. And that's how it started. Let's see, the CERN mission statement, it says on their website, at CERN, our work helps to uncover what the universe is made of and how it works. We do this by providing a unique range of particle accelerator facilities to researchers to advance the boundaries of human knowledge. Why was CERN built? At the end of the Second World War, European science was no longer world class, but a handful of visionary scientists who imagined creating a European atomic physics laboratory. Founded in 1954, the CERN laboratory sits astride the Franco-Swiss border near Geneva, not the rapist Franco. Who are the people that make CERN? CERN employs about 2,500 people from nationalities all around the world, working in every area of the organization, from physicists to computer scientists to chefs, because they gotta eat. How is CERN governed and organized? CERN is run by 23 member states, which, if you're deep in conspiracy lore and bullshit, the 23 might have set your fucking spidey sense off, but it's okay because they have to have an odd number for voting purposes, each of which has 2 official delegates to the CERN Council. The CERN Council is the highest authority of the organization and has a responsibility for all important decisions. It controls CERN's activities in scientific, technical, and administrative matters. And I also find it odd that the vast majority of these bullshit conspiracy theories about not knowing shit about science and them opening up various portals are being perpetuated through the internet because CERN is actually where the internet is.
Yo, for real.
It's basically the central infrastructure for the entire internet around the world. Internally, over 50,000 kilometers of optical fiber provide network connectivity throughout the CERN sites. The CERN Data Center is also the host of the CERN Internet Exchange Point, or CIXP, a carrier-neutral exchange point through which CERN played a central role for the internet's development. And it wasn't Al Gore who developed the World Wide Web, but rather a fellow by the name of Tim Berners-Lee. And CERN is where the internet was born. Tim Berners-Lee is a British scientist who invented the World Wide Web in 1989 while working at CERN. The web was originally conceived and developed to meet the demand for automated information sharing between scientists in universities and institutes around the world. So take that, internet or not internet.
Yeah, suck on that.
Yeah, whoever's perpetuating the gates to hell bullshit, basically, just crack a book every once in a while. Not that one, but you know, other ones, different ones. So right. You had a story about a dude that worked at CERN.
Mr. Anatoly Bulgorsky. Anatoly. This poor fella, well, I mean, I guess it could have been worse, but in 1978, he dropped a wrench inside the tube of a giant, like a particle accelerator known as the U-70 synchrotron in the Soviet Union. He dropped a wrench in there, he reached in, but there was also, it was just the perfect timing for a highly charged particle beam to go through his head, like the back of his ear and then out through his cheek.
Jeez.
At the time, he didn't really feel anything. He's kind of hard of hearing after that. But eventually, like, he had swelling. He lost the hearing in his left ear. But other than that, he continued doing what he did.
Did it say?
It was a highly lethal dose of Roentgens.
Oh, ROENTGENES.
But for some reason, it was so finely. It was like a millionth the size of a human hair.
Microatomic.
The beam, yeah. And so he lost his hearing. Other than that, he had a really normal life, and he kept doing what he's doing. He didn't even report it at the time. I'm sure he didn't want Chancellor Boris to
find out he was smoking
come
weed
down
on the job.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could have
So,
been.
I mean, that's just my own little thing about the particle accelerators and everything.
That could have gone way worse. He could have become a half man, half wrench monstrosity.
He
He could have ended up like that guy with the ironic name from Japan who got caught in the nuclear incident. I believe it was Ouchie was his name.
Ouchie Booger. Yeah.
That's also his description of how he looked towards the end. We're kidding, Ouchie.
No.
Please don't haunt us with your atomic ghost.
We're already eating your radioactive tuna.
Yeah. Breathing in all these Hitler particles left over.
Yo, for real.
I think that's going to do it for today. That's actually way better than I thought we were going to do
Short,
time-wise.
sweet,
Yeah.
Nice and neat.
Yep. Short and PHAT like Danny DeVito. Or Joe Pesci, to a degree, depending on the year. So yeah, we should be back next week with a guest. And if you enjoyed us talking to any degree about quantums today, then wait till next episode.
Yeah, we're gonna have quantums coming out the yin yang.
Quantum's coming at your ass. Quantum ass crack. Yeah, this may be coming up one of our more science-heavy episodes, which I've been wanting to do for a bit, but it's nailing down what it all means, because as I've said frequently, I am not a very scientifically inclined person, but we will try to start backing things up when available with the science when available. So yeah, I'm your host, Mike Luck. This is Kooks, Cranks, and Iconoclast, and I'm joined by
Spencer Lowry.
and we will see you next week. If you want to get a hold of us, by the way, email us at kooksandcranks@gmail.com. We're on all the shit. Check out,
YouTube now.
yeah, we're on YouTubes. We're on the other tubes. We're on the...
Click, clack, ding dong, tic
Yeah.
tac.
Check them all out. I think that's it. So yeah, tune in next week. We'll be back with a whole freaking episode. Peace.
Yo, for real.
In the pond, where the sun don't ever shine, I wish you would all night too.
Chris is in the pines.
Yo, for real.